welcome back to the Schmitter Center Acre Woods. So today, just going to be a quick video, hopefully, of changing out some of the links on the back for the 3-point hitch. So what we ordered was we went ahead and ordered these new, they are stabilizers. So we went ahead and bought them from Messick's and got the Kubota ones. So ours, these pieces are bent, and then these don't really turn anymore. So we went ahead, these came as one set here, so this bolts onto the 3-point hitch piece and this goes to the tractor. And we went ahead and got the new pins that hold this onto the tractor. We keep finding different ones to use and we keep bending them just because they're not hardened, whereas these should be hardened and the correct length to go in there. So anyway, so we got these as well. So I'm going to get the tractor up here, get the yard box off, and get the tractor up here and get the old ones off. So I'll show those to you before I start, and then getting these on. Should be a pretty straightforward process. The only thing is, on the tractor, these pins here are bent, so I'll probably have to take the grinder to cut it off. It's not going to just pull out. And then it'll be interesting to see about getting these loose. I think we've had them loose in about the last year or so. The bolt that goes onto here, but I'll have to see. Hopefully I can get the impact and it'll just back off. Okay, so these are the pieces I'll be replacing here. So you can see that bolt or the pin back there kind of into a curlicue. So I'm going to replace that. We've straightened these once and everything, they just aren't working right. And then this side goes through and it has a bolt, and then it's the exact same on this side to where you have the bolt and then that there. So we've already had to replace that shackle back there once. So just get all this replaced so that have the correct things, and hopefully be able to get it all adjusted. So the thing that precipitated all this is the stump grinder. So the idea is, so you know, there's a lot of swing in this, and you're gonna have swing this direction. You know, it's kind of part of it, but it's the swing this direction. So what we're hoping to be able to do is swing everything kind of over the one side, and then get these stabilizers adjusted so that it kind of holds everything over. So it's kind of the hope. And like, we do have to be careful, like on this one, I mean, you can swing these into the tires, so you just have to watch for that and get things adjusted correctly for that. So anyway, I'll get these new ones on and then work on adjusting after. And we'll really have to put an implement on to kind of get it adjusted fully, but we can get pretty close to begin with. So for this here, it's 24, so just take the impact, zip those off, so that I can then have room to work on getting this moved over a little bit, and get in, like this one, I'll have to take the grinder and cut that out. This one I should be able just to unfold the pin and get it out, because it looks like it's still in pretty good shape. These two have a lock washer and then just a nut, so I do need to save these. It didn't come with new ones. So just set those up there, and then I'm gonna have to get a hammer. So if you have to hammer these out, you want to put the nut on loosely, so whenever you take the hammer and tap this, you're not gonna ping over these threads and mess these up. If you put the nut back on just a little bit so that you protect those threads, you can now take a hammer and hit that and pop that out, and not goober up the threads of what you're trying to do. Okay, so just get that loose, and then you can back this off, and it should come the rest of the way through. If not, you may just have to give it a little tap, but if it's really stuck, that's where you don't want to just be hammering on it. There you go. And these have been well used, so like I think these may be twisted a little bit. The actual drawbars here, or not the drawbar, but these 3-point hitch pieces. So there we go. Okay, so on this side just had a cotter pin, so pulled the cotter pin out, and then as long as this is still pretty good shape, just comes off like that. So this is the new pin that we bought here, and then this here as a whole is what we bought. So we've gone through and straightened this. This is a little bent here, and you can see just, I don't know, it's been well used. And then this piece we've obviously replaced with a small clevis. So it may, I mean, it's going to be about the same, but not exactly the same piece as far as length. So that could be messing up. And then all you're doing is going through a little hole right here on the frame of the tractor. So I'm going to do the same thing on this side. It's just going to be a little bit more challenging. So I'll get the pin out just to save it, because I'll need it for the other one. But then I'll get the grinder in here or something to cut this out, because it's going to have to come out in pieces with how bent that is. Okay, one cut was able to get that out, and I was able to wiggle this out, but you can see how curved all that was. And then these pieces here, so we actually welded this side together because it kept backing out. And this side we've adjusted all the way, and then have that jam nut there. But again, it's pretty crusty, didn't really want to move. We probably won't throw these away, we'll probably just store them so that if we need pieces off of it, we'll have them. But that's pretty much all there is to getting them off. So now I'll just put them back on. I'll start up here, get these attached, have them just hanging, and then I'll get them attached to here and work on that next. So these are symmetrical, so you don't have to worry about getting left and right. So whenever you put them back on, you don't have to make sure which one's which. They're the same, so it doesn't matter which is which. So went ahead and got this straightened up just a little bit. This is pretty bent here. And there's not a whole lot we're going to do about that without replacing this whole thing here. But I'll get the stabilizer back on and work on adjusting those next. Okay, so I have this on, just have this pin back here. Haven't tightened this bolt up, or this nut up yet. But this is kind of how it's supposed to work. You're supposed to be able to just turn it, and you can see this whole thing moves in and out based on that. And then you just use the jam nut on here to then hold it. So the other ones were just so old that they didn't thread in and out very well, and they've been beat around. So we'll start fresh with these and you know, kind of get these set correctly, and then hopefully not to mess with it too much, but if we need to, they now move kind of like they're supposed to. So again, basically I'll need to get over to the yard box that I took off over there and kind of get everything lined back up as far as where the 3-point hitch pieces need to go. And then once I have that, we can then kind of adjust them for the swing, how much swing we want it to have. Because, you know, this one obviously stops it from swinging to the right, and then once I get this one on, it will stop it from swinging to the left over here. So I'll get this other one on, and if the rain hasn't come yet, I'll work on getting it hooked back up to the yard box. So hooking up this style here is typically a little bit nicer, but it is a whole lot easier with two people because you get those pins lined up exactly and get everything in. And this one was a little bit more difficult because you see I had everything swung to one side, so there I got everything adjusted. Alright, so I got these fairly evenly spaced here between the tire and the actual 3-point hitch piece. And then what we're looking for with the stump grinder is to make sure that there's not a whole lot of rock in it. So basically you want, whenever you move that back and forth, not to have a lot of play in the 3-point hitch, but to actually have the entire tractor kind of as one. And that's where before we weren't able to tighten these up so that you wouldn't have that rock in between, and it would just kind of have that extra play. And with that, you know, you'd have the whole thing kind of shaking back and forth. So that was kind of the precipitant of wanting to get these changed out and kind of get it so that whenever using the stump grinder, it would work a little bit better. So that's just a simple video kind of showing how to get those stabilizers replaced on the B2150. So hit that thumbs up button, subscribe, and be on the lookout for using that stump grinder and the B2150 in future videos.